Over the years, battle royales have gotten bigger, louder, and faster. Lobby sizes have ballooned, the pace of matches has increased, and maps have grown to the size of small countries. To say the least, battle royales have gotten huge. But not everyone was content to create games that trend towards a larger scale. Some wanted to take the genre back to its roots by creating a smaller, more intimate survival experience in which players could use smarts and cunning to hunt their peers. Today, we'll be looking at a battle royale that broke the mold, and a team that created a game centered around tracking your enemies and engaging in close quarters combat rather than running and gunning. This is the Darwin Project. For the Darwin Project, 10 people are selected and dropped into a hexagonal arena in the snowy Canadian Rockies. To survive, they are given an axe and a bow and are forced to fashion arrows out of available wood. The goal, obviously, is to survive until the end, and to do this, contestants must not only compete against each other, but against the elements as well. Throughout the course of a match, the temperature gets colder and colder, forcing players to chop down trees for firewood, while simultaneously trying to stay alive. As for the game itself, players can choose from one of 3 classes: Jetwings, Grapple Gauntlet, and Headhunter Drone, each granting the player a different tech tree and special abilities. Much like Koshin Takami's Battle Royale, the map is split up into 7 zones. As the match progresses, the number of available zones slowly decreases, and players are forced to get closer and closer together. Within this framework, let's talk about the actual gameplay. Darwin Project puts a heavy emphasis on tracking your opponents, or being wary of open loot boxes, but following the footprints they leave in the snow, and watching for signs of crafted materials that they might have left behind. For example, if one were to follow the tracks of another player for long enough, they would be rewarded with an icon on the map indicating where the player is. There are also cabins spread throughout the map, inside which players can track the real-time location of every other player in the game. The trade-off between stealth and intel is a big one, and deciding whether you want to risk it by going into a cabin or hide on the outskirts of the map and avoid player contact is entirely up to you.
Yikes! Yikes! Ah, dude, got him, dude, got him. Dude, I was literally, I wasn't even looking. Game, you.
On top of this, Darwin Project also employs drops that give excellent items like shields and teleporters. However, trying to get the best items, you're bound to come across other players, and the combat in this game is intense and unique. Dodging arrows, predicting melee attacks, and using the terrain to your advantage, the long drawn-out fights are a major departure from gunfights in most other BRs. But what really sets Darwin Project apart is the magical 11th player, the show director. Just like in Suzanne Collins' Hunger Games, no matter how skilled, clever, or outright lucky a participant might be, they are ultimately subject to the will of a higher power. In this case, that higher power comes in the form of another player.
Oh, hello there. I'm the show director. You know, as long as people have been fighting to death in the woods, crowds have gathered to watch. When Cain slew Abel, I was there. When Caesar got knife rushed, I was there. When Abe Lincoln got fragged, I was there. I'm the equalizer, the instigator, a game show host with nuclear weapons.
This director feature was built with Twitch and Mixer in mind. The idea is that in lieu of a human director, Stream Chat could take over and vote on what action should be taken.
I wanted actually to speak a bit about that because the Darwin Project is a freaking crazy ride. Players are a niche, right? For the video game industry, there are actually more than 20 times more people watching people play than people playing for any game, including the single-player games. So we try to create this game that is as much a game as it is a reality show. So basically, the idea is, yes, the game is amazing for the player, and we want it to be addictive, and we play 5 matches a day. This is a thing, but we also want the spectator to be an active part of it.
The core gameplay philosophy was to ensure that all players felt like they were in control. Player agency came in the form of utility rather than overpowered weapons. Producer Zach Hiltz said, quote, "Every combat encounter, be it early game with zero loot or late game and fully decked out, ultimately boils down to that trinity of axe, bow, and mobility. Because combat is centered around an axe and a bow, you won't suddenly find a machine gun hiding in a crate by a tree. In general, the developers wanted player skill, rather than loot, to be the ultimate deciding factor." Hiltz continued, saying, quote, "Someone with a glider in their inventory and 3 levels of fuel efficiency crafted on their jet wings may be able to outmaneuver a superior player, but it doesn't all of a sudden make them a better shot with their bow. A player who has a firm grasp on axe and bow combat that knows how to use their mobility to land a blow is a force to be reckoned with at any stage of the map." Overall, Darwin Project was a quieter, more subtle battle royale, and it was revealed to the public at PAX East 2017 and then fully announced at E3 later that year. Preliminary reviews from publications and playtesters were generally positive, and on April 24th, 2018, the game entered early access on Steam. Unfortunately, Darwin Project wasn't without its criticisms. One of the main critiques levied against it was that, for all its build-up, the payoff and action left a lot to be desired. Let's take Warzone as an example. In Warzone, once you enter the late game, you've typically got a pretty sweet kit. You've got your favorite gun, all your utility, and are ready to engage in some Michael Bay level firefights. You're done with all the tedious bits, and now you're ready for some adrenaline pumping action. The Darwin Project, as we said earlier, is a little bit quieter. So while you might spend the same amount of time gearing up and crafting items as you would in Warzone or any other battle royale, it's entirely possible for all that work to go to waste if an enemy manages to sneak up behind you and put a single arrow through the back of your head. You never heard them coming, you never even knew they were there. But, thanks to the nature of the game, you just have to accept that you're dead and start a new game. In addition, the game's aesthetic didn't really separate it from the pack, as models and maps look like a new snowy chapter right out of Fortnite. Plus, having only 10 players meant that games were shorter, but beating only 9 other players meant that victory never felt quite as satisfying as edging out 99 or 149 other players. While it might take skill to use the bow and axe properly, skirmishes often felt repetitive, with players dodging and trying to get a hit over and over and over. However, the game's biggest mistake was including a price tag. With the success of Fortnite, many other battle royales opted to try the free-to-play model, Apex Legends and Warzone being the first 2 that come to mind. Unfortunately for indie projects like Darwin Project, which at $15 is a modest buy-in, most gamers would gravitate to the ones that were completely free. The title peaked at just over 2,000 players, and those numbers went downhill in a hurry. Within a few months, Darwin Project's numbers were so low that it was difficult to even find a game. With no other choice, Scavenger decided it was time to give in and go free to play. But despite their best efforts, there was very little change in the game's player count, and 1 month later, on May 13th, 2020, Darwin Project shut down active development. This was followed by more bad news, and in November 2020, it was announced that the servers would be consolidating in order to allow players to, actually find a game. Unfortunately, this really didn't affect much, and the game, for all intents and purposes, is dead. So, from the outside, it looks like Darwin Project is yet another title in the long casualty list of late 2010s battle royales. The premise of the game was pretty unique, harkening back to the early titles in the genre like Minecraft Hunger Games. But if Fortnite, Warzone, and Apex Legends are any indication, it's that the general public is more interested in fast-paced gameplay rather than slow, meticulous tracking and hunting. Maybe it'll be possible to combine the two down the road, but for now, Darwin Project will be remembered as that snowy Fortnite game with the bow and arrow. What are your thoughts on Darwin Project? Do you think it would have been successful if they started out free to play, or is the game just too boring for anyone to want to play competitively? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This video is made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. Massive thank you to everyone on this list, And shout out to Jason B, Brendan, QB, Foxy, Mauve, Pachana, Sierra, Shampoo, Spartacus, and Yashichi for being Platinum supporters, as well as an extra special shout out to Steven and Marco for being Diamond supporters. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to talk to us, check out our Discord. If you want to support our channel and get info on unreleased videos, check out our Patreon. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Jonah. Thanks for watching.